Yeah. And then he said, well, what are you going to do now? And so I punched him in the mouth. Wait, am I live? Oh, how's it going? Sorry, I'm having a chair issues here. There we go. Everybody, let me set the camera here a little better. Hello. Hey, it's been a couple of weeks, I think, since I've had my last live show. So I thought, hey, you know, I guess it's time that I do another one. So hello, guys. I see a few people in the chat already. Jermaine and Mike. How's it going, guys? Let me get situated here. So I hope everybody is doing well in their various forms of quarantine. I've been working from home since this all started, so I don't get out much, but it hasn't been too bad for me since I'm sort of a homebody anyway. So it's almost like, you know, what quarantine? What are you talking about? It's more or less how I normally am. Though I did go out quite a bit today. I had to run some errands and such, actually today and yesterday. And I'm actually surprised there's a lot of people out there. I went out, I thought maybe it might be zombie time and nobody's out there, tumbleweed and stuff. There was a lot of traffic. It didn't look like anything was different. Other than some of the stores, I went to Home Depot and they kind of shuffle you in through only one door and only one way. And it looked like they were counting people. There was a lot of people wearing face masks of various sorts. So there was, some things a little strange, but for the most part, I was able to go out, get my shopping done, several different stores, go through some takeout as well. So hopefully this will all end. There's been some encouragement on the front that things may start to slowly go back to normal soon. So I've been taking this opportunity. You think I would have built a whole lot of planes and stuff. I kind of feel useless because I haven't done a lot of building. I've been doing mostly cleaning up and stuff. So trying to get the workshop a little more. That's one of the main reasons why I went out was to go grab some storage containers so I could start organizing some stuff in the shop better as well. And I've been hanging up some more planes and making some more space and doing all kinds of stuff here. So I really haven't had much chance to work on them. But I have been working on a few things here and there, and you can see behind me, it would look suspiciously like an A10. Yes, my A10 is on the workbench. I have started painting it. That will be a future video I will do, how I paint that and detail that. So I finally started on that because it's such a nice flying plane. I felt bad that I haven't flown it much. And of course, today's show is going to be about putting together a 3D printed plane. So I see a few people in the chat have talked about it. Yes, Stephen, the Eclipse planes are pretty neat. And Whispering Pine, you're building one now with your printer. Good to hear. Your printer is building one. Let's see, you're playing some Model V. You'll love it. Been flying for a month or so. Cool. In fact, that's exactly what I plan to be doing. I'll be doing a Model V. So I'll talk about that in a second. Kevin, any more plane reviews in the works? Well, yes. I mentioned before mentioned A10, although it's not really going to be a flight review, just going to be sort of my trials and tribulations of painting it and detailing it. The Cookson Model V, which I'll be assembling tonight, is a future review. This also, the Eclipson Model T? I forgot which one this is. I've had this one built for a while, but I have not flown it. I built it for floats, and I have been waiting to find an opportunity to fly it. So it's actually ready to fly. It's ready to go. It's got the radio in it. You can see servos, speed controller. Oh, there's a battery in there. I gotta take that out. Why do I have a battery in there? There is. So you can see speed controller, battery. I gotta put this in storage. So it is ready to go. I just need to find the spot. Here in South Houston, a lot of the waterways are brackish, and I'm kind of hesitant to throw it into a brackish water with the salt content. So I think I found a couple candidates for fresh water that I'll try. Again, a lot of the places are shut down, or we've been doing the social distancing. So we're haven't been able to coordinate with my cameraman to do that. So, but the Eclipson planes are pretty neat. I've been this is the third one I've built, and I think that's what's neat about them is their own designs. There's a couple other 3D printing 3D companies that make 3D make files for 3D printed planes, and some really nice stuff out there, a lot of scale stuff. But what's neat about Eclipson is they don't do scale, they just sort of does his own thing. It's sort of their own whimsical design, and I think that's pretty neat as well. I guess one of the advantages of being 3D printing your own plane is you have a lot of flexibility in your design, and you don't have to worry about economies of scale. When there used to be a joke that if you started your own model airplane company, one of the first things you probably should do would be a P-51, right? Because everybody and their brother does a P-51, but P-51s are also very popular. So it's sort of a half joke. But when you do your own thing, when you don't have to worry about gearing up and building your own, when you gear up to manufacture something, you need jigs and you need all kinds of stuff to gear up to make your own models. There's a word I'm looking for and I can't remember what it is. But with 3D printing, you just say, just come up with a file. People like it, they do. They don't. It's not a whole lot was wasted in materials. It's all electronic. So you can kind of come up with your own whimsical designs. If some are more popular than others, so be it. So that's kind of what's neat about these things. And if you listen to our podcast, I have a podcast, RC Roundtable, with two other co-hosts. We had a gentleman on last week. His name is I'm terrible with names. Eric Haddad, if I remember correctly. He's also doing some 3D printed planes. I'll leave a link eventually in the thing. I forgot his website. And he's got a really neat plane that he just came up with, and I also plan on printing. It's a combined wing, a joined wing design. I thought really neat. So I think that's what's neat about 3D printed planes. I can't say they're better or worse than other types of planes. They're just different. And it's great for tinkerers. You got a 3D printer. You can print stuff out. You can choose your own colors, your own settings. You can even scale them to a certain extent. And if you break it, just print out more pieces, right? You don't have to buy a whole new plane for the most part. So of course, they're not the best at everything. The material you print with for the most part is not very durable. These are actually fairly fragile. You can't leave them in a hot car because they will melt. Even sometimes if it's too hot outside, it might melt a little bit. This is a biodegradable product, so at some point it's going to biodegrade. It should be years and years before it happens, but you can't leave it outside in the rain. Let you do that anyways. So plastic planes have their advantages and disadvantages, but they do fly, and they do fly pretty well. And I think that's just really neat as a modeler and tinkerer, just to be able to print out a plane. It's just really neat. Just another facet of the hobby. If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. But enough of that me wandering off. Let me put that down here. Let's see. I see a bunch of stuff going through in the chat. Hopefully I haven't gone too far off the rails. Let me see what we have here. I see there's a bunch of fans of the Eclipson planes. They are pretty neat. I'll leave a link if you're not familiar with them. Let's see. I've been having problems with warping. If you're talking about warping on the bed, make sure you use a heated bed. Some people will say you don't need heated beds with PLA. You can a lot of times get away without a heated bed with printing PLA. I always use a heated bed. My first printer didn't have a heated bed, and I had problems with warping on the bed. Just get a heated bed, even if you have to modify your printer to do it. Life's a lot easier. Sometimes when you're printing pieces, I'll bring one over here. Here's a piece here for a wing, and there's not a lot of surface area to fit on the bed. So not only use a heated bed, I don't think I have a piece here. Look into brim settings. A brim is sort of, think of a brim on a hat, right? You've got a flat piece. You've got, I wish I had a piece of paper. A piece that would stick out. So if you're printing this, put the camera down so you can actually see it. So if you're just printing this by itself on the bed, there's not a whole lot of material. Sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes you can't. But if you print with a brim, think of this, and this is also being plastic. So you got a whole much more surface area. So obviously this is way too big of a brim, but say if you go out about 4 millimeters and print a brim that's about 4 millimeters, that gives you more surface area for that to stick to the bed. That should alleviate any warping. And it's usually pretty easy to peel off. So basically, it's a perpendicular piece of platform for your part to stick to the bed easier. I hope that's what you were talking about. Let's see. What's the best plane you've ever flown? All of them. Oh, that's a very hard question. What is the best plane I've ever flown? Obviously, some are better than others. It depends what kind of plane it is. Couple of ones that probably pop up right out of the bat. I have a Chaos 60 ARF. That's a really, really nice flying sport plane. Just handles great. It's probably one of my favorite planes to fly. Very, very nice handling plane. Though I have other planes I love to fly for different reasons. You know, I have a QT that's also a fantastic flying plane, and I just love the way it flies. I've got a Mosquito, a Typhoon, my Avanti jet. There's most of the planes I have fly pretty good. Some fly better than others. Some have different nuances. So it'd be unfair to leave some of them out. Some that I fly probably are not considered that great of a flyer, but I like them because they have character. So it's really a hard question to answer, and I'd be really hesitant to say one particular plane is the best flying. It's just whatever mood I'm in, because some planes are good for calm days, some planes are good for windy days. So it's like I say on Facebook, it's complicated. Let's see. Is there any U.S. Navy Blue Angels RC models? Yeah, there's a bunch of F-18s. I've seen some Blue Angels F-18s. I can't remember who makes them, but look out there. Check Motion RC. I think they have a Blue Angels one. If you're talking something relatively recent, somebody I think made an A4 Blue Angels at some point as well. I think that was, who made that? I don't remember. I thought I saw one in the past. Any nitro planes coming soon? Nitro planes. Not that well. Possibly. I actually picked up some nitro engines, used ones, and I'll either build an airframe for them or I'll put them in another airframe. So I might consider making a video about that. I don't fly nitro all that much, but I never completely stopped. I actually do have a few nitro planes. I just mentioned the QT, which has a little 049 on it, and I do have some other planes that I'm thinking of probably making nitro. Sometimes I go to a flying called Small Steps in Arkansas, which specializes in small aircraft. And a lot of nitro 049s, 20 size planes there. So I probably will build something. I've had a few things in mind. I wanted to build maybe even a twin nitro plane because I'm masochistic like that. Let's see. So hello everybody. I see a bunch of stuff in the chat. Looks like I'm behind a little bit. Let's see. Now, are you going to do a flight? Do a video with a jet to put the exhaust lights in? That's the Avanti. I already have a video of the Avanti. I did a review of that. Don't know if I'll do a video with the lights. Kind of hard to do much of a video where it has lights. Okay, done. I might consider maybe a quickie video. Say, hey, flight test with the lights. I might do that. I'll think about it. Let's see. Crafting, heavy crafting, because people talk to each other. William, you're awesome. No, you're awesome. Let's see. My bed is too hot already. Makes me sweat. That sounds like a personal problem there. I use a brim now. Started with a wrap. I wasn't happy. I try to avoid rafts if I can. Rafts are kind of a pain. Very rarely will I use a raft. I've never really needed the raft except extreme rare cases. Usually a brim can get me done what I needed to do. Because rafts can be done okay, but they're a little tricky, and there's some settings you got to tweak with the rafts to make them easier to pull off. I like living too much to play with rafts unless I really need to. Yes, I'm a free wing FA. You're a great man. Any plans for flight test? Trial on airplane. Is that a question? Any plans for flight test? Please elaborate. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Let's see. So it looks like we got done with the chat. So I think we'll start getting on with the show. Excuse me if I sniffle a little bit. Allergies. This is especially since I've been out today and being in Texas, we've got allergies, stuff floating around, and depending on the winds and all kinds of stuff. I need to take one of those allergy tests and see what the hell I'm allergic to. Okay, so today, as I mentioned before, let's go down here and see. So looking at the back. Today, we have a Merkava, right? No, just kidding. This is the Eclipson Model V. And I printed it out for a while ago, and I've been meaning to put it together. This is neat. It's called a V, of course. It has a V-tail. And I'm really kind of looking forward to put it together. I was going to do a live show before putting this thing together, and I realized I was missing some parts. Interestingly enough, they decided to change their design a bit with the Model V from some of their other stuff, and it threw me for a loop. Because they don't really, unfortunately, I need to email them and yell at them and say, you really need a downloadable manual or assembly guide instead of the video, because they do have a sort of a exploded diagram, which is nice. It's actually very nice. It tells you all the parts, tells you the printer settings that you should use, depending on what kind of filament you're using, which part it is, if you need to do the open shell, the resolution, all kind of nice stuff. It's nice, but it's missing certain details. It doesn't really tell you certain things that I missed. So so I was like, okay, let's start throwing this thing together. And I realized, oh, wait a minute, I'm missing some pretty important stuff that they didn't have on their other stuff. So I went and looked at the video. I even did some, oh, look at that. I left my air compressor on. Let me turn that off. There we go. Doing some, I was painting the A10 earlier and left the air compressor on. So I went to their video. They have a nice video online. It's actually pretty good. And I went and just took a bunch of screen captures of the video for some important things and whatnot. So we are ready to go. I have parts. Hopefully I have all the parts. We'll find out. I have some glue. Get some Starbond medium and medium thick. I realized I left the medium. Normally I keep the glues in the refrigerator, and I have somehow forgotten that I left this in a different room outside for I don't know how long. So hopefully this is still good. So I'll try this first, see how that works. Of course, some accelerator kicker. If you've never built a 3D printed plane before, it's pretty interesting. It's actually really easy. The trickiest part, of course, is printing them. This actually came out really nice. I had very little stringing. I think I used PLA Plus on this. And it was funny because I was watching the video from the actual company, and it had a lot of stringing, and it was pretty kind of a rough print. I'm looking at it like, as he's putting it together. So he needed some settings or something. But mine actually came out quite well. There's very little stringing and such. So I think I have presets. There's a little bit of muck in here, but you can't see it. So I'm pretty happy with the prints. They look good. So let's put this thing together. As I was saying, if you've never done one of these things before, it's mostly just super glue together. You take the pieces. This one even has some tabs on it for alignment. And so you kind of slide them together, glue, hit them with accelerator, and you've got a piece. So they actually assemble fairly quickly. The issue is, of course, just printing them takes a long time. This is probably easily a week's worth of printing, with the printer running fairly consistently. But this is not too bad compared to some of the other stuff that I've done. So, hey guys. Mehdi, France. Hello from France. It's always amazing the people that come in. They're saying they're from overseas. I'm always fascinated. You know, we live in such a small world, communicated world. With people I had last time, was it from Australia, from Europe? A couple of years ago, my wife and I took a trip over to Europe, and we spent a few days in Paris, as a matter of fact. Went up to the Eiffel Tower, took a boat tour. It was real nice. We took a train from Germany. We went into France, stayed a couple of days, met up with some some friends, family in France, in Paris. Hung out there for a couple of days and then took a train into England. So my first time in Europe and had a lot of fun. We look forward to going back again. So anyways, kind of in Belgium. Hey, in the Caribbean. Hello from the Caribbean, Island Nevis. Oh, Kevin. Kevin, I have some heritage in the Caribbean-ish. Part of my family is from Jamaica, so I have some island heritage from that part of the world. All right, so let's start put this thing together. All right, let's see. So the first thing is we're going to start putting the fuselage pieces together. There are several pieces here. Somebody's chiming in from North Carolina. I'm not missing. Here it is. I spent some time living in South Carolina myself. All right, so we're going to start with the front piece. Here's the nose. And get somebody's piece here. And so the fuselage is in, what, 5 pieces here? 4 pieces? Yeah, I can count. All right, so first part is, like I mentioned before, they got some nice tabs. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the glue and, hey, it's coming out. Put some glue on the tabs. You can see that. And then we'll put some glue on the ridges. It's a little delicate. Just kind of slide them on there. On the shell. In there. All right. Just like that. I don't know if you can see that. It's probably not easy to see. Just kind of running around all the seams, basically. Then that's not right. That's right. So nice thing is I use medium or thick CA, so you got some time to work with. So you can sort of do this, kind of put it together. See, it's not quite aligned. So make sure I line it up. There. Make sure. Oop, don't rush. Plenty of time to work with. The glue shouldn't set up all that quickly. Get the kicker ready. I'm a little bit anal retentive on the alignment, so I kind of spend a couple of extra seconds making sure that it looks good. Roughly. And then just kind of right there. Hold it for a second. And then we'll do the other side here. Make sure it lines up good. Like that. So a quick hit. All right. That looks good. That looks pretty good. And I just gotta in the middle, the outside. All right. And so we've already got this piece together. All right. Okay. So we continue on. It's a little bit different with the tail piece here. There's no tabs because of the way this was printed. They didn't put the tabs on this piece, which is okay. So what they do is you print out your own little tabs. You can see this is actually one part of the file when you get them. There's little tabs in here. So I got. Oh, I just dropped something. Hope that's not important. Found it. Yeah. All right. So I'll pull out a few tabs. I think I only need 3. I can't remember if they talked about this. Okay, yep. So looks like there's a tab on the side, kind of like there. So we'll put a drop of glue on there. Let me know if you guys have problems seeing what I'm doing. I'll see what I can do. Let's do this. There we go. So you can kind of see that there's a little tab. Kind of stick it in there. Give it a hit. Move the camera closer. There we go. So, take a hit from the other side. Take the other tab. And the other side. Might be easier if I put the glue here first. There we go. And then instead of trying to hold a tab with glue on it, just use a knife to kind of get it aligned. All right. Hit it, and then I'll press down on it a little bit, make sure it's in there. All right. All right. This kicker stuff is pretty amazing how you can just spray it on. I like the aerosol better than the liquid. You can buy, if you've seen kicker, it comes in either a liquid form, it's kind of like a squirt bottle, versus an aerosol. And I always prefer the aerosol. I don't know, maybe I'm weird like that. Okay, so I got the 2 tabs in. I was could have let a little more meat on this one, but it'll work. It doesn't need a whole lot. All right, so with that, we can now put this other piece. Of course, make sure it's on the right way. You don't want it upside down if it's not the right way. You got matching internal bits there, so we'll go like that. So what I'll do is, I think I will, like before, a little bit of leather. Best way so you can see it. Just like before, just kind of around the perimeter, a little bit of CA. It's okay if you get a little extra. It's interesting how I put a little piece, little glue on the tabs. Stop moving. All right, and again, make sure it's on the right way. Get in there. I want to stand it up. It's easier when I stand it up. That way I can let gravity hold it in place while I check the alignment. Yeah, see, this is a little bit out of alignment. Oh, it's starting to dry. Oh, oh, no. Oops. I know it sounds terrible, but I want to check. It was slightly off and the glue was dry. There we go. Again, I was just being anal retentive. It wasn't that bad. I could have lived with it, but let's see if I can do it. All right, so I'll just wipe off a little bit of extra glue and then kick it. Oh, a piece of leaf or something flew in. All right. Yeah. And that already hasn't been too long. We've got most of the fuselage. And then we have the tail. Again, make sure the tail is in the right orientation. I'm going to do a test fit. Sometimes these tabs are a little bit, like this one is kind of not really fitting in very well. Yeah, it's not quite. What's happening is it's getting a little bit of, best way to put it is reverse elephant foot. Usually you get elephant footing on the bottom of a print as the first layer is kind of squished, as it builds up the layers, they're not as squished, and so they literally call it elephant foot because it's just a little bit of a wider footprint. And so at the last layer, it looks like it's kind of squashed as well a little bit. So what I can do is I can either take a knife and sort of, actually, what am I using? I have a file. So I'll take a file and I'll just kind of bevel the edge a little bit. There. So what I did was I was just sanded down a little bit. Yeah. Hey, I see we got a bunch of people joining in on the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome to my domain. All right. So hopefully it'll fit better. Come on. Get in there. Yeah, look at that. See? Right in there. A little bit of convincing. That's interesting. I don't know why that's... all right. So it's ready to be glued. Pull that back out. Make sure I don't got too much stuff in there. And I will add some more glue. All right. And goes right in there. Make sure there's a little bit of a, you see the spline, so make sure it's aligned. Make sure it's right. That's the top. That's the top. All right. That's in. And we'll give it a kick. A little bit of a lip. That's odd. Huh. You see that? Don't know why I did that. Won't hurt anything. I just thought it's odd. Must be something off on the print. But look at that. Well, it's still drying. I won't get too aggressive with it, but it's just that quick. Yeah, it's still setting up a little bit, but all right. And so 90% of the fuselage is, well, not 90%, but a good chunk of the fuselage is done. This is the main core of the fuselage. We'll have to put, I think we work with the tail next, and then we'll put the landing gear in. And then we go on. So let's go on to the next part. See if I'm missing anything in the comments. I know it's a bunch of stuff popped up. We'll do it real quick. People will see North Carolina, South Carolina. I lived in South Carolina for a while. Delaware, Pennsylvania. I was in Pennsylvania a few months ago, going through a graduation. Jermaine, Dallas. I used to live in Fort Worth. South Dakota. I've never been in South Dakota, sorry. Virginia. People from all over. That's fantastic. Let's see. What's the Blue Angel? Run. Crafting. Look at the beautiful plane. Away from UK. Wow. Probably it's pretty late there in the UK, I would imagine. But thanks for the comment. Joe, doesn't look like I missed too much. A couple of planes, the hitchhikers reference. Yeah, Caroline, I was hoping somebody would get that reference. I was hoping. I was going to ask, like, anybody get the reference in the title of this video? I just thought of it the last second. I was like, look, I got something clever I can put on there. It's plastic. Yes. I've always been a fan of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, especially the cheesy 80s miniseries, or what you want to call it. I still have a real good fondness of it. The movie that came out a few years ago was okay, but they cut out a lot of stuff they shouldn't have cut out. It had its moments. It had some pretty good moments in it, but I think the 80s one was perfect because the story itself is so goofy that it went with the cheesiness of the special effects and stuff at the time. So it's funny. I actually didn't really like. I was over a friend's house, and I had never read the books or heard anything. This is in the late '80s, I think. I was in high school or so, and a friend of mine had one of the books, and I opened it up, and it says, "In the beginning, the universe was created, and people thought it was a bad idea." And I was like, "What the heck? This is weird. What the?" It didn't gel with me, and then until I was finally convinced to read it, and I read it, and it was fantastic. So I didn't judge a book by its cover, but I judged a book by its first page, the subcover, I guess. I don't know if I see somebody talking about the radio series. Did I ever listen to the video series? I don't remember. Might have listened to part of them. I understand that he kept changing them. The radio series is a little bit different than the TV, which is a little bit different than the books. He kind of kept tweaking them. Poor guy, he died way too young, Douglas Adams. All right, let's continue on, and I'll look through the comments as I go along. I think the next thing, let's see. All right, carbon fiber. Okay, we'll work on a tail. So one of the first things I noticed was different. Let me go to the tail bits here. Is they use carbon rods. And you see in the picture, you see him cutting some carbon rods. And I didn't have any. And I was like, wait a minute, there's carbon rods in this? That's new. So what I did was I actually went on, you can see my little, hold on a second. I got to show off my little thing. So I built this little, I had some extra pieces of, I don't know if this is plexiglass or Lexan tubing. And I said, oh, what am I going to do with this stuff? And I realized, I need something to hold my bits of, wire and tubing and parts and stuff. I had some cups and they were kind of clunky. And I said, well, let me just build it using different lengths. And so I just glued it to the old piece of wood I had laying around. And so I went on Amazon or eBay. I can't remember. It was either Amazon or eBay, one of the two or both, and just bought a whole bunch of carbon fiber tubing and rods in metric sizes. This is Eclipson is somewhere in Europe. He told me where he was. I think it's Spain, maybe. So this is all metric. And so I bought a bunch of metric tubing, which is always good to have in the workshop. So they're talking 2 millimeter, if I remember correctly. And I think this is 2 millimeter. And what you do is you take the tubing, you can shove it up into the, here, so you can see it. It just shoves up in there. I guess that's 2 millimeter because it fit perfectly. So what I want you to do is they have some links. Let me grab my scale here. Oh, there's one right here. So they give you some links. I think that's more for reference. He talks 195 millimeter. I've got a handy thing right here on my workbench. A little scale right here you can see. So what I will do is 195 millimeter. It's here. I might be able to cut it with a knife if I roll it. It didn't quite work. It's a little thick for that. No, actually, that's working. There we go. Yep. All right. So we've got one roughly 195, and the other one was 110. So I want to use their length and see if that's workable or not. And here is 110. Just roll it. Now you can use a pair of die cutters. I just want to see if how well this will work. Problem is, if you use die cutters like this, I could have just cut it with a pair of these and just. Problem is, it squishes the rods and it pulls them all out of whack. This way, the ends are not squished or flattened. So it should still kind of just slide right in it. There it is. Oh, wrong one. So you got a long one and a short one. Oh, which one is which? 195. Okay, so you got a long one and a short one because the insides are different lengths. So here's the long one, goes there. No, goes there, right? Yeah, it goes there. There we go. And you got a short one that goes there. Huh. That is not like what they showed in the picture. So they show, you can see it doesn't stick out all that far. This one was pushed in a little too far. This one's not enough. I wonder if it's, oh, there we go. It's just that I didn't push it in far enough. All right. So we'll go with that. Hopefully that's not too long. It still seems long. I'm just going to do a test fit here. So eventually they go in here and it'll slide in somehow. Yeah. Like that. And so I'm kind of testing the, I think it's too long. Yeah. So, which is okay. It's sliding very far, so it's not going to be needed to, oh wow. Can I get it out? Yeah, go. Of course, I pulled it out and forgot to measure it, so I'm going to, how far went? So I'll do that, and I'm going to make a notch or something. You know, it doesn't need to go very far. So this is live. Let's see. So we're only talking about this long, 10 millimeters, the most. So I'm about there. Yeah, so what it is, I just made a mark. I'm gonna, oh, I just I crimped it a little too hard. It's okay, this is being cut off. There we go. Oops, where's the mark? Here it is. So I'm just gonna cut this off. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. This fits really tight, so I don't think I need to glue it. No, it's not going anywhere. This is really loose, so I believe I'm going to glue this one. But I'm not going to put the glue at the very beginning because it might cure before I can slide it all the way in. So I want to do it about part way. There we go. Okay, let's let it in there. Leave a little bit out. That should be enough. Roughly 10 millimeter, I think, should work. So I'll rotate that a little bit. All right. There we go. I could hit it with a kicker, but I'm just going to let it dry naturally. I think that should work. All right. So, same thing for the other side. So this time I'm not going to really cut it to the length they recommend. I'm just going to slide it in, see how far it slides in, and then cut it from there. So I'm just going to see how far it slides. We'll measure it about 10 millimeters. Pull it out. Carbon is pretty strong stuff. I'm sure this blade's going to be dull pretty quickly doing this. There we go. I just thought I would do a quick test. Yeah, yep, that'll work. Look at that. Yeah. There's still a couple pieces missing, but that will work just fine. I like that. So We will stick this in there. I'm going to add a little bit of glue. There's my napkin. And another piece. I can reuse this piece. I think I will. I will use this. So, this, yay. The strength won't really come from the glue. The glue is just going to keep it in, keep it from moving. So, all right. So we now have the V-tail pieces. And let's see what is next. Let's see. Just double checking what I screen captured. Can't remember the whole sequence of everything if I needed to. Okay, so for the tail, there's another interesting piece. In this model, the tail is removable. So, you know, you can put your pieces in, and I'm actually missing a piece. This is it. So if you can see, there's a large hole right here. You know, you get the small one for the pin. And what I need to do is put in a wheel collar. And I think that's in here. Excuse me while I fumble through my box of wheel collars. What did I do with it? There it is. Let's see. So I had some wheel collars. Are these it? I believe these are it. Yes. So wheel collars basically fit in here like that. You just kind of push them in, and then in theory, where'd the tail go? You can put a piece in there. Come on, slide it in, and then screw it in, tighten it, so you can actually remove the tail. I thought that was a really clever idea. In case you break the tail or something, you can pull it out and replace it, or even for transportation, you can pull it out as well. So I didn't put the screw in here, so let me pull this thing out of here. And hopefully, there's a set screw. So I will take a little set screw. You can see that. Put it in there. Let's see, let me put it in a little further. And of course, there's a hole in the bottom for the set screw. I want to put this in and make sure that you can see the set screw, which you can. There you go. Push that in there. I believe that is it. Stick that in there. Take the other one. Some time ago, I got this box. It's a whole box that carries 4 of these as drawers, and so I have all kinds of all my wheel collars, easy connectors, random stuff, and hinges, all kinds of weird stuff. It's nice that you can pull it out as a drawer and use it and then slide it back in. and it holds gobs of wheel collars and all kinds of stuff. It's pretty neat. I think I got it at like Home Depot or something like that. It's like in there. Go. I think that fits. There you go. So I'll line up with the hole. Now they can print out these little caps. So I got my box of mini prints. A lot of little things to print, so I just stuck them in a little servo box. And so there's a little cover supposed to go over that. But it's, I think the wheel collars I'm using are a little thicker than what they use, so it's not quite fitting very well. It's, if you can see it, there's kind of a, it's not sitting, even though it's got a little wedge shape to it. It's just not fitting. It's not. The inset is not enough. This is almost flush. It's supposed to be inset more. I don't think that's critical, so I am not going to. I'm not going to use it. I should simply be able to slide it in. Now, when I printed these, there was a left and a right, and I can't tell the difference. They look identical. There doesn't seem to be an angle or anything, but the file said left and right. So, of course, you know, I can switch them anyway. So, I'm just going to randomly loosen the screw. I'm just going to randomly. Oh, I just realized something. Anybody catch that in the chat? No, we didn't. So we've got these little end cap things. They prevent the collar from sliding out. Otherwise, when you tighten everything out, they can just slide right back out. I've hit a quandary with that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue the collar in. Hopefully that will hold. If not, worst comes to worst, I can just glue the tail in. But I might just, I've got another idea too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of glue in here. So I'm going to glue that. Usually CA and metal doesn't do all that well. So I've got another idea. All right, so what I'm going to do is, since this is more or less flush, I'm going to glue this on backwards. And you'll see my logic in a second. Okay, just making sure the holes lined up so I can get to the set screw. And I'm going to take some glue. Oop, too much. What about toothpick? Throw my toothpick. A little too much came in my bottle, so I'm going to carefully put some around the edge. Like that. Very carefully. And then I'm going to take the cover, glue it on backwards. There we go. So there's a little, you can almost see it right there. But, oh. Because it wasn't still drying. Oh, now it's sticking to my finger. All right. Get in there. Dang it. When I want the glue to dry quickly, it doesn't. When I don't want it to dry quickly, it does. All right, so there we go. Some kicker. All right, so you can kind of see. Get this set up. Oh, hey, Raymond. I'll see you later. Kind of catch up with the chat here. Yeah, all right. So now with the cover on, the little collar is not going to come out. Make sure I didn't glue it. Nothing's glued. That shouldn't be glued. And so what I'm going to simply do is just trim it. Trim it flush. Just get extra pieces. Look at that. I got a sharper knife that's been cutting carbon. There we go. Better. Yes, I'm cutting towards myself. Just be careful when doing that. There we go. Yeah, that's the ticket. Then I can hit it with a file. Yes. I think that'll work very nice. Look at that. Yeah. Look at that. There we go. Right there. So it's nice and flush. All right. So now we should be able to slide that in. Oh, loosen it up. Keep forgetting that. Ah, look at that. Put that in there. Tighten it. Not too much, just enough. I think that'll work. That's pretty neat. Yeah, it's not going to come out. All right. So just do that with the other side real quick. I'm going to take this off to make it easier to work with. So even if everything doesn't go exactly to plan, you can kind of work around it. All right. I might make sure this is really flat. Nice thing about PLA is it's fileable, sandable. All right, so let's do the same thing for the other side. I got another one here. Let's see. Well, we'll do the same thing. Stick a little dab of glue. Come on. All right. I command thee to dry quickly. Yeah, all right. And there we go. So it's interesting, this company, they've each new design, of course, has new things, some new features to it, some new attention to detail. The first one wasn't bad, but you could tell there was some room for improvement. And so each of their designs, I noticed that they have actually tried to implement improvements in how they're assembled. If you remember the video, the first one, it had you print out the wheels using the hard plastic, and it made a horrendous racket when it was taxiing. And kind of skid around. I said, hey, can you make the next one so that I can 3D print flexible filament for the tires? And they said, yeah, we're going to do that. Already done. And lo and behold, the next one, it had 3D printable had files so that you can separate the rims from the tires, or wheels from the tires. And it was great. I 3D printed a set of wheels, and it's much quieter. It did really well. And they seem to have done some issues, improved getting the CG right. I think the first one had sort of a short nose, which gave some issues getting the CG further forward. I noticed this one and the last one, the noses are longer, so that's good too. And these all fly with very moderate power setups. It's not a very big plane, but you don't need a whole lot of power or a big fancy motor or anything like that. So, all right, that's in there. Let me open this up. But this is cool. This one of the things that really attracted me to this one was the V-tail. I like V-tails. That's pretty cool. I have a couple of V-tail gliders, and I have an old kit. Somebody's asking me about the glow kits. I might make that a glow. Something called a Killer V. It's a sport plane with a V-tail. Yeah, goes right in there. I always thought was neat looking, and I found an old kit. They actually had two versions. They had a high wing and a low wing. It was called a Killer V and a Sport B or Baby B. I can't remember what it's called. And of course, the V-tail Bonanza, which is a classic civilian aircraft. That is just really nice looking, distinctive. All right, so I'm sorry if you can't see that. I forgot I'm on camera. Apologies. So, all right. Yeah, sorry about that. I should have. Can you see better? Yeah, so the tail is on. We've got V-tail. That's nice. I like that. Okay, let's see what is next. So it looks like we'll go on to the wings. They're talking about the wing tubes. So let's put together the wing. Put that aside. And I got all the wing bits in here. You'll notice they're not all the same color. Yeah. Nice. I printed some pieces in blue just to break things up a little bit along with the white. All right. So I haven't looked at the chat. Let me go through the chat real quick, see if I miss anything. Yeah, the movie was stupid. I wouldn't call it stupid, but it was not as quite as it could have been. We're talking about Hitchhiker's Guide movie. My friend Raymond popped in and out. Let's see, Bob Ross. People keep calling me the Bob Ross. Happy little planes, happy little trees. I cannot grow my hair like that. And I suck at painting. I'm not an artist. My father's an artist, which is funny because my father did drawing, paintings and stuff like that, but it didn't get past me. So I can do mechanical drawing and that kind of stuff, but I can't do painting stuff like that, or I just haven't spent the time to do it. Let's see, cybernetics. What motor size do you recommend for these planes? Oh, you don't need much. I think like a 50-watt motor. I actually have a couple of different motors I kind of popped out. I think was recommended. This is a 1400 kV 2212. So I think this is rated a couple hundred watts. So it can't swing a very big prop. So I went with a slightly higher kV. I think they recommend 900 to 1400 kV. So I went with somewhere around, this one's 1400, and this one is 1200. So I got a couple of smallish outrunners I'm going to try. I forgot. This one is the 1200 ERC. So they're talking a 9.5 prop on this, 2.3 LiPo, 150 watts. Okay, so I knew it was around that area. I don't remember exactly. This doesn't have a wattage. What's the weight of this thing? 50 gram motor. So they have the recommendations. It's on their website. If you go to Eclipson Models, but usually they don't take a whole lot of power. Run about 3S, 1,000 milliamp hour battery pack. Here's the battery pack I was going to run. Gens Ace, 1,000 milliamp, 3 cell. Keep it light, keep it small. Okay, so Riddle colors. Yes, it's a good point. Riddle color. Well, isn't gold one of the Riddle colors too? Don't know if that's you knew that or not, but I actually went to Embry-Riddle. I'm an Embry-Riddle alumni in Daytona Beach, Florida. There was a fantastic school to go to if you're an airplane geek. I had a really good time going there. Met some fantastic and lifelong friends. The education I got there was very good. See a piece? Oh, there we go. I have fond memories of attending the school there. It's in Daytona Beach, Florida. So you get the beach. You got the racetrack is right there. Kinds of activities. Orlando is very close. Always sunny. Very, very nice weather, mostly. Sometimes it gets hot in the summertime. I didn't realize it. Maybe that's why I printed blue. Subconsciously, I was trying to do my alma mater. So let's get this thing together. If I'm trying to remember correctly. Again, this one is a little different than last time because there's actually spars in this one. And they say, I guess it's a 4mm. Go look over here. And I guess that's a 4mm. 5mm, 6. This is D6x4, so I don't. Hopefully, I measured this correctly. Doesn't really say. Pretty sure this is supposed to be 4, 6. I don't know. It fits. I guess that's it. All right, so by 500mm. So 500mm rule. This is 45 here. With an extra 5. This is exactly 500mm. So in the video, they say do not glue this in so that you can replace it if you need to. So the nice thing is I don't have to glue it in. All right. So should be able just to shove this in here and then shove this in here. Yeah. What's neat is you look, there's channels in here for the servo leads. You can see that right there. It's a channel that goes all the way through to the other one. Yeah. So, oh, stop. Okay, so it goes in there. There's actually a little stop. It can't go any further. It goes in there. Yeah, that works. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's glue this thing together. Do a test fit, make sure. Remember the reverse elephant footing I was talking about? Okay, it fit in there. Ah! All right. All right, so come on, there we go. Walls on the wings are a little bit thin. There we go. It doesn't take much. Just a glue in there. There's like a little bit of glue there. A couple on it. A little bit on the tabs. Probably should have done the tabs first. All right. Shaft is moving around. Technically, probably could have gone 1 millimeter larger on the shaft, but it's not a big deal. At least I hope it's not a big deal. We'll find out, right? Yeah. Oh, there we go. When the tabs was out. All right, looks like that's lined up. Stay still. Of course, on the wing course, it's important to try to get it lined up well so you don't have any misangles in there. You don't have to trim your ailerons or anything. Look at that. Very good. No, this is the only, because you'll notice there's no tabs on this one, because the tabs on this side and there's tabs on this side. So you probably could, I did print some extra tabs. If I get in there. I did print some extra tabs. So I could conceivably glue a tab in there. I don't remember if they said to do this or not in the manual, so I'm just going to do it anyways. Can't hurt. Oh, put my finger to the, all right. Get a little bit of a kick. I think I've got one more. Yeah, I got one more. All right. I'm going to do one more. Yeah. Come on. I should kick it from the other side. Oh. Kick this. Got a little bit of extra glue on the tab. I'm going to wipe that off real quick. Okay. Since I just hit that with kicker, I'm going to put glue on this side. And around the perimeter. Careful not to get it into the carbon tube hole. There you go. You see how just putting glue on the perimeter makes a really strong shell. Oh. Before I put that in, remember to put the spar back in there. All right. There we go. You see that? Double check the alignment. Kicker. All right, here we go. Center wing is done. Man, it's pretty stout. It's interesting they went with a spar this time because the last several planes did not have a spar in them. And seemed kind of weird, but it actually was still pretty strong. I didn't, even though I broke one, not the wing, I broke the plane because the motor fell off in flight, but the wing stayed in shape, intact. So maybe they figured people would be more aggressive on this one or something. I don't know, or he's got a longer wingspan. All right, so we're going to continue on. So there's another spar. There's actually a couple of different spars in this apparently, because there's another smaller diameter spar. I think I have smaller ones. Yeah, looks like it. I hope. Yeah. So if you look, there's a discontinuous spar. Goes like that. Now that's interesting. And then I guess presumably, that's the wrong one. Here's another one which stops. Huh. Notice not a missing wing section. That's as far as it goes. So I want to see how far it goes. I think they tell you in the manual somewhere 250 millimeters, right? So they ostensibly, it should stop right here. I want to test that theory. Yes, that's right. All right, so not quite sure I could cut this with a knife. Should I do it as an experiment? Let's see. 150. Guess I can mark it there. No, it's starting to fracture a little bit. So I'm going to have to grab the motor tool. Because the other rod was hollow, and this is actually, I mean, the other rod was solid, and this one's hollow. So let's do this. I'm doing that. Let me check the chat real quick. Let's see. Would smoothing out the surface with acetone help with aerodynamics of the model? This is PLA. Acetone will not work on PLA. That's for ABS. And the ridges are so small, and with the airflow, I wouldn't say it would actually, or even on the fuselage, maybe against. I don't think you would notice it if you printed it. If you were conceivably able to do that, I highly doubt it would make a difference. But good question, though. Strength? I don't know if it adds strength. Again, it's strong enough as it is. I haven't had a problem with strength for the most part. Funny looking tank you're building. Yeah, you never heard of the Merkapa airplane tank? Yeah, somebody else knew with the Riddle, with the Prescott. All right. So I'm gonna. My thing is a little small. I wore it out. It's supposed to be bigger. Let's see if I can give it a cut real quick. It worked. Okay, so shove that in there. We'll shove this. I remember when I first started building these, I was like, hey, you can use CA? That's pretty neat. Oh, lots of CA. It does really well. I was surprised how well CA works on this PLA. Right. It's in. Ooh. Got a little bit of frosting on the blue. That's interesting. off later. Okay. And we got the wingtip. Well, one of the wingtips. Yep. 250 millimeters is just perfect. Go. Spilled some glue. Oh, Peter. Oh, Peter. Thanks for joining. Now I understand the riddle comment. All right. Good friend of mine's in the chat. All right. Let's slide that in there. Beth. The kicker is kind of discolored the blue a little bit. Hopefully I can wipe that off or something. If I wasn't in a rush, I probably could just glue it and not hit the kicker and just let it sit. But hey, we're live on YouTube. This has a lot of pieces to the wing. Look at this. I didn't realize there's so much. That's why when I saw it, I thought it looked a bit like a hotliner or glider. Okay, so there, and we got the last little wingtip here. Nice little curved up winglet. But that's pretty neat. But here we go. So I'll glue that in real quick, and we'll be done with this side of the wing. Guys are welcome to ask any questions in the chat if you got anything about the airplane, about life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. All right. More of a glue coming out. Haha, magic. Pretty neat. Nice little winglet. Got it to print. I had to tweak my printer settings a little bit to print the winglet nicely. I think on one of the other planes, it was something happened. I think it was running too slow or something. The winglet got kind of funky with the filament because it was. Oh, I think you had to slow it down in the Cura settings when you're printing such a small piece. And I'm not running the fan very much on this. They recommend you not run the cooling fan on the printer at high speeds because for increased strength, and so it was melting too much. So I slowed down the layer speed. You can set it, say if it's minimum speed depending on how the length, and it came out really nice. All right, so we got the other side. I've got more carbon spars. Wait, no, wrong size. I don't have more carbon spars. What am I missing? I got more carbon spars. Look at that, another piece. That's neat. Since we've been in this sort of semi-quarantine, I've been mail ordering a lot of stuff, and you can tell Amazon has been doing like gangbusters. What am I doing? Same thing with just dirty. eBay, a lot of mail order. Although I found that Amazon, a little muck in there. certain things have been delayed quite a bit. I ended up relying a bit more on eBay for some stuff. Simply because you go on Amazon, it says, even though I have Prime, it says, yeah, it's Prime, but don't expect it anytime this month. It's like free 2-day shipping with Prime. That actually is 4-week shipping. So I was able to find some stuff on eBay, like these carbon rods and stuff, and they got here pretty quickly. So it's an amazing world we live in. We can do this and order this stuff. Oh, wait a minute. I'm supposed to cut this. I'll use the one I cut before, right? I think this will work. Set 250 millimeter for their 500 millimeter should be the perfect size. Yeah, look at that. Another wingtip. Another wingtip. Where's my wingtip? There it is. No, wait. Oh, there's another piece. Okay, never mind. Never mind. This wing is bigger than I remember. So there's this piece. And then this piece. And this piece? No. Is it? God. I didn't think it was that late. I'm getting myself confused. Maybe. So I just did one side. You'd think I'd remember. I was thinking it went all the way through this. It doesn't. I forgot. So the other half, the other piece I cut will work just fine. Look at that. Okay, so let's glue this thing in there. It'll be interesting what kind of designs this company comes up with next. If they have, if they're going to go into scale, or they're going to do more whimsical designs. A lot of work goes into doing these things. So I briefly thought about, maybe I can make a 3D printed plane, design my own. I've tinkered with CAD a little bit, with SolidWorks, Fusion 360. A lot of times when I do my own 3D stuff, I'll use OpenSCAD because I can just used to using it. I can whip up something real quick. But OpenSCAD is not something you want to do for something like this. This is way too intricate for OpenSCAD to do practically. Technically, you could do it, but it would be painful. I came across somebody, I think it was an RC group, actually had like a mini tutorial about how he did some of the stuff in the building one of these, and it was a lot of work. I mean, like a teacher used to tell me, it's easy if you know what you're doing. So I just haven't been inclined to dedicate the time to learn how to do this, but I wish I did have the time, because I'd love to do some really weird stuff. I wouldn't do a P-51, so to speak. I would do something like, can I make a, I don't know, maybe something out of science fiction? Can I do a B-wing from Star Wars or something like that flies? All right, from there. So kudos to the people who spend the time that came up with designs that work. I know there's a lot of experimentation, still is, but looks like there's some maturity now in these designs. For taking the time to do that. I'm sorry if you can't see that. The camera. Keep forgetting to look at the camera. Yeah. But we were having a discussion before about 3D printers and how to get a real good use out of a 3D printer is you should learn how to draw. Not necessarily which program you use is not that important. It's just being able to draw your own parts and pieces really opens up a whole new world with 3D printing. And the sense of accomplishment and elation I got when I 3D printed the first thing that I designed and drew myself is almost unparalleled. It's just really amazing. There's lots of tools, lots of online guides. Kind of pick a software, play with different ones, pick one you like to use, used to, but don't be afraid to try new ones. Looks good. All right, last wingtip. All right. And let's put a bit. We should put the wingtip on the right way. Yeah. Don't get impatient. There we go. Fortunately, even with kicker, you got a little bit of time to work with it. Not a lot, but yeah. Hold that. All right. So we have a wing. Wow, it's actually a pretty good sized wing. Let me camera up there. And it is hitting things. There we go. The winglets. I don't remember the wingspan on this, but it's probably the largest that they've built so far. That probably explains all the spars. None of their other planes had a wingspan this big. This is easily 50 something inches, pushing a meter. So now I see why they have spars and stuff in there. That's good size. Nice. I got the blue stripes. All right, so I think we are pretty much done with the wing, other than putting the servos in. Not going to put the electronics in tonight. I just want to show you the airframe. So they talk about next step is the landing gear. So I mean, real quick, catch up on the chats while I'm moving on to the next part. Let's see. Thanks for doing some inspired. I'm glad you're inspired. Always good to try new things. It's better to try and fail than to not try at all, right? Any good design tools for designing aircraft for 3D printing, naval power plants, and control systems? Multi-party question. Designing aircraft for 3D printing. Well, people use different tools. Like I mentioned, SolidWorks and Fusion 360. Some people have used is it Adobe? There's one of the graphics programs. I didn't think it was usable, but I think the people use this. Oh, what is it called? I forgot the name. It'll come to me in a minute. Just whatever you're most comfortable with. Almost anyone can be used for the most part. Some are easier than others, I guess. Very neat wingtip. Curled up for stability. Wingtips are for. Hey, Peter. Wingtips are for efficiency, not stability. It's to control the vortices on the wingtips. That's why you see them on airliners. It improves fuel efficiency and lessens the drag and effectively increases the wing area. Let's see. I ordered some phase 2 tool holders for my lathe. Oh, okay. Let's see. What plane am I building? I'm building the Eclipson Model V. I'll put a link in the description after the video goes into storage when I'm finished. But you look them up. Eclipson. Is there a name somewhere? It's not written on your thing. Eclipson, I believe. Someone talked about OpenSCAD. I use OpenSCAD as open source toolpath generator for mail. Oh, that's interesting. Toolpath generator. Interesting. I thought of using it that way. Turboprop. Draco. Yeah. Let's see. OpenSCAD is great. You can code. I thought only Blender had that feature. No, that's a nice thing about OpenSCAD is if you've done a little bit of programming or coding, you can really whip something up pretty quick by just writing it basically as a script. But it has a little window and it shows you live as you're building it. It's really neat. I found it more useful than I thought it would be. It's not great for organic shapes. Blender would be better for that, but for whipping up some manipulating primitives is really pretty good. I always default to OpenSCAD first, mostly out of laziness because I'm familiar with it. But I do want to branch out to other stuff. Oh, hey, Lee. Lee's in the chat. Troubleshooting Ender 3. She's not printing properly. Welcome to the world of 3D printing when your printer suddenly stops printing for no apparent reason or go wonky on you. Mine's done that several times. It'll be just fine, and then it goes wonky. And I found, just a learning process of your printer. If you learn what tends to break on it or what wears out, my printer has a couple of things that I know to look for first because I know they tend to break or wear out. So I had a weird problem the other week where it stopped. It would print fine for about half hour, an hour, and then it would stop printing. It would stop extruding, and it did. Pulling what not much. I don't have any hair left, but what's left of my hair is pulling out. Why the hell is it doing this? What's going on? It turned out the little fan that blows on the extruder, not the one that blows on the tip. It's the actual mechanical. There's two fans. There's one that blows on the hot end. There's one that blows on the extruder stepper motor. That fan had died. It stopped working. I didn't notice it wasn't spinning because there's all kinds of other fans that are moving. You can't hear it. It had blown a few blades, which was weird, and then it stopped working. It was dead. And what happens is the little tensioner was made out of PLA, and as the motor got hot, as it was printing, it loosened tension on the filament, and it would stop extruding. It took me forever to figure out that's what was going on. So weird things will happen. Expect the unexpected. Let's see. Chin feel a lot. Let's see. We're gonna find U.S. Navy Blue Angels. I think we had that earlier. Did you print this yourself? What plane is it? Yes, I printed this myself. This is the Eclipson Model V. You can look it up. I printed it on my printer. I have a Prusa i3 clone using PLA, and so yeah, it's all my own stuff. I didn't design it, of course. I got the files from Eclipson. Let's see. An Aussie. Greetings from America to Australia. Fantastic. It'd be fun to see someone build an Airbus A350 extra wide body. PLA. Hopefully go together. We were doing winglets on sailplanes in the early 80s. Oh, that's neat. We need to know what kind of sailplanes those were. I used to fly sailplanes myself. Can you create with Blender 3D? I imagine you can. I've only touched Blender a little bit. People apparently said you can do 3D stuff with Blender. I think you might need a plugin for it. And I don't know how it does dimensions. I always thought of Blender as more of an organic thing than because you can sculpt with it, that kind of stuff, and more technical. Let's see. That's the last few chats. I'll continue on. Oops. Let's see. You start print before you go to bed. Yeah. Hey, Tony. I see Tony's in the chat. Can I see a 3D printer? No, my 3D printer is a totally remote location from the workshop. We cover something to go get it. Maybe one day I'll pull it out, but it's nothing fancy. It's just a typical 3D printer. It's called a Hicktop Prusa i3, if you can look it up, with the all-metal frame. Okay, let's get on to the landing gear. So the landing gear, we were talking about filaments, and the plane is PLA, but the landing gear, because you can't see the landing gear, can you? Look at my ugly mug. There we go. The landing gear, I actually printed this in ABS. ABS is a little stronger, and it can handle higher temperatures better. Now, it's not good for printing thin wall pieces like what we see on the, for parts, this is PLA. For wings and that kind of stuff. It doesn't apparently has problems with adhesion on thin walls like this has. You can kind of see. But since this is mainly solid for the most part, I decided to use PLA. PLA requires a higher temperature. It requires a pretty hot bed. I think I printed like a 100-degree bed for Celsius, like 240 degrees extrusion. But I think it makes it stronger. Even so, they actually have places for, let's see if I can have it here, a carbon rod to go into the landing gear. There's a little hole and a little slot section here where you can stick a carbon rod in there. I thought, well, that's kind of neat too. I don't know if it's really necessary for this. The last few planes I had didn't have this, and they did pretty good. I think this is the right size. They say was that 2 millimeter? Yeah, 2 millimeter. So if I wasn't so lazy, I go get my calipers. But I'm being lazy, so I know I got them 2 millimeter, I think. All right, I'll go get my calipers. I gotta get up. Okay, where are my calipers? Oh, didn't look hard enough. Ha! Harbor Freight Special. There we go. Because I got a 10 battery. All right, so this thing's pretty neat. I can measure. It's 1 millimeter. I probably don't have any 2 millimeter. Honestly, don't remember. Did I not buy 2 millimeter? Oh, there's 2 millimeter. Okay, I did. It looked bigger than 2. So they're saying, can I shove that in there? That ain't going in there. It is not. Looks like the hole got squished a little bit. Try beveling it a little bit. Sometimes when you 3D print stuff, holes are not completely round, and I suspect that's what happened. So I would have to drill that out. So, I don't know. What do you think? I don't have don't really have long drills. Now I did print this out, I think at 100% fill, and it's ABS. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just leave it, or I can come back to it later. I'm not going to worry about it now. I'm not going to waste your time. I'll think about it. I don't have a drill. That's a good 3 inches to find a long drill bit like that. So I'm going to forego the carbon rod for now. The 1 millimeter fit, but 1 millimeter is like spaghetti, so I doubt that would help anything. But there's a picture. Of him shoving a rod into the landing gear. So I guess if you're doing that, you're probably going to have to, this hole looks squished. Not important. Like I said, I printed landing gear before, and they seem to have held up fairly well. Come back to it later. So I think I am going to basically screw the wheels in, did I? So landing gear is, let's go. No. The wing goes there. Landing gear goes here. There we go. Okay. So as the wing goes on, landing gear goes in. There we go. That makes sense. All right. So I think they want us to put the wheels in. Oh, so I talked about the wheels. Whoa. Let me look at the wheels. This is really neat. There we go. So the wheels, the tires are put in 2 pieces. So this is regular PLA, the rim, or wheel. Tire is printed with flexible filament. So it's sort of semi-rubber. So I can just slide this piece on there. Yeah, get in there. There we go. That's really neat. That's kind of the... So when you wear out the rubber, you can just print another one and pop it back on. And they're fairly light. So, and what else am I missing? I think I missed the direction where they're talking about the wheels. There we go. So 2mm carbon rod. Just had a 2mm, didn't I? Just said a 2mm carbon rod can be used, or metal. Had to be drilled out a little bit. What's also neat is they have wheel pants. 3D printed some wheel pants for this guy. It's kind of neat. Here it goes that way. It goes this way. It goes that way. There you go. So they weren't very clear how that fit. Does it go here? I'll have to double check. I remember the video wasn't very clear how these wheel pants work. Yeah, it doesn't. How does that work? So it goes like that. Maybe. Oh, okay. Okay. So it looks like you glue them onto the. Ah, okay, yeah. You sort of glue them on. Yeah. Okay. So I can put those on after. All right. So. Yeah, I can see something happened when I printed this. The top layer got a little bit squished, and I can see the hole is squished. Yeah, interesting. So this is not quite fitting very well. Oh, no. There we go. Yeah. Right, so hole is supposed to go all the way through. It's not. I might have to drill out the hole for the wheel. Yeah, I'll grab a drill bit somewhere. Well, trusty Roby cordless. See, that's big enough. Yeah, look at that. When it spins. Perfect. Calibrated eyeball. I didn't even measure it. I just picked the drill. I thought it would be the right size. All right, so stick that in there. Stick that. Forgot to look at the size I needed. It was about how much roughly? My patented Roll cut. There we go. All right, so probably should drill this out a little bit. So wheel goes in here. Shaft goes in after it. Come on. No. Make sure the shaft goes in a little slot there. It's in there. There we go. And the wheel collar. Back to my box of wheel collars. Yeah. Okay, so now my workbench is starting to get cluttered. This is a modeler's mess. I have a set screw. Ah, here it is. It's amazing when you start working on something, how your workbench suddenly looks like Godzilla went through with Mothra. And everything's all messy. So we're going to put the wheel collar on here. All right. Okay. Crude but effective. Oops. Didn't put the. I think I didn't. Something's not right. Where am I? Something is not right because I can just pull that out. It's supposed to go all the way through. Yeah. Unless they want me to glue that? No, it doesn't make any sense either. All right, so it looks like there was a hole missing, and it threw me off for a second. So we're gonna drill all the way through. If I can get in there. Yeah, right. Well, there we go. See, now that will make sense. Why did I not see that before? Sometimes it's amazing how you'll miss the obvious when you're working on something. Oh, run away! Ah! While I'm at it, might as well make another one. Yeah, right. Deuce. Stick a wheel in here. And the shaft in here. There we go. Wheel collar. Wheel collar. There you go. That will work. So I'm not sure why the other hole wasn't there. Is there a problem in the file? I missed it. Or setting into my printer. Ah, come on. Get in there. There we go. Had a wheel color. Didn't want to get with the program here for a second. Let's see. All right. I'm doing this. I can look at the chat. Let's see. Vincent talking about the wheels. Tires are pretty slippery. No, I've done this before. Tires are actually really pretty good. They're not slippery. When they were all plastic, they were slippery, but not these. Same, I believe it was the same TPU, flexible filament. Printing flexible filament is a little tricky. You have to print it slowly, and a lot of times I'll have to use some sort of brim to get it to stick to the bed. Won't stick to the bed all that well. Did I drill this one too? Did I not drill this hole? No, but I did drill this hole. Let's see. There we go. Let's see. Looks like Dremel tool drill press will come in handy. Dremel tool drill press. Interesting. I've seen those. I actually have a drill press, so I never was really interested in a Dremel tool drill press, but maybe a little mini drill press might come in handy. Humans are subject to many optical distortions. Oh, you tell me about it. We're subject to all kinds of distortions. Pretty sight taken over. No, we're not. Acknowledge that with an answer, Peter. Site store for gift. Multispectral sensors. What are you guys talking about? Okay, so we've got wheels. Yeah, we've got wheels. I may need to reprint this. I'm not liking something. Something got warped, it looks like, on the landing gear. I don't know if you can tell. Let's see if you can tell. The camera's probably going to distort it. The wheels, this wheel, it's got a little. No, I think they both got toe out. So the wheels look like they have toe out. This one definitely does. The wheel is supposed to be more this way. It's tilted out that way. This is the front. And so when you have toe out, it's not going to be stable, unlikely to be stable on the takeoff run when it's taxiing on the ground. And it looks like there's a little bit of warpage here. ABS is very prone to warping. So I don't remember if I printed this. Oh yeah, this is the bottom. I think I actually might have tried using a raft on this. I don't remember. So anyways, this, I'm going to put it on just for to show you how it goes on, but I'm probably going to reprint this gear. I'm not liking, you notice the holes were not quite round for the reinforcement, carbon reinforcement, and it looks like it's got toe out on the right, and the left is toe in. So they're both sort of canted. I'm using my hand, you can't see them. So instead of being like this, they're kind of like that, and this one's kind of wonky. So anyways, something to look out for. Again, the instructions say you can print on an ABS or PLA or whatever. So I was trying to be clever, and I didn't notice that there was an issue. Anyway, so let's see how this mounts. There is another piece. Get that out of there before I drop it. So we've got these nice little doodads. These hold the screws in the fuselage. So what we need to do is come back to the fuselage real quick and put these, see these holes? That's where the landing gear and the wing hold downs come up. And these are keepers for the nuts. And so they kind of just go right in there. So I have to glue them in. But I also, should I glue them in? Yeah. Screws. My box hole screws. Pick these up, I think off of Amazon. All metric, all kinds of sizes. This is coming really, really handy. So I think I'm just going to stick a screw in there just to see what it looks like. That's what I may do. I think this is supposed to be 3 millimeter. I believe so. So I have some nuts. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you feel like 3 millimeter nuts. Yep. Hopefully I still have the nuts I need in there. Yep, that's it. What you do is you stick the nut in there. Actually, I wonder if some nylon insert nuts, those will fit. Yes, they do. I'd rather use these. Nylon insert nuts, you got, if you're not familiar, get out of there. You got your plain nut, and you've got basically a lock nut. It's got a piece of nylon inside to keep the screw from backing out. So I hate to have the screw back out while I'm flying or landing or something like that. And they fit in here. Get in there. There we go. Fits in a piece like that. And then I think what I'll do is I'll temporarily install everything. Let me think. Do I need to do that? Probably don't. So I'm gonna put a screw in there. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So what I'm gonna do is put a little bit of glue. It popped out. A little glue on here. My nut fell out. Right. There's a flat spot on this little keeper thing, so we'll keep that near the side of the plane. We'll stick a screw in here. Oh, did it dry already? Oh, crap. Uh-oh. Red alert, red alert. Screwdriver. No. Oh, no. Oh, the glue's dried way faster than I thought it would. Let me get a hammer. There we go. Got it out. I'll get another one. I think I have multiples. Crisis averted. All right. Wow. I didn't hit any kicker in there. All right. Let's try this a different way. I'm going to put a bit of glue in here. I'm going to stick a screw in there. That way I can screw this in first. All right, so I just screwed it in partially. And that way I can get the alignment there. That looks good. And hold it down and give it a little bit of kicker. All right. Didn't think the glue was going to dry that fast. Oh man. Store-bought glue, still sticky after sitting out for a while. All right, so that's in there. Crisis averted. In fact, I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the nut so it doesn't pop out. The nut is real loose in there. You can see. So I'm going to dab a little bit of glue on the side or something, so it doesn't pop out on me. There we go. All right, so grab this, grab another. See, my workbench is becoming a disaster zone. But I need stuff. Well, actually, I'll grab that nut and put this away. All right. How about I glue this nut in first, huh? All right. Some screw. Put another screw. Okay, so we're going to put the glue down here first this time. Stick the screw in. You can see that. We'll screw this on. Pull it down. And looks like it's pretty centered. Let's shoot with some kicker. For a second. We'll pull it out. All right. So hopefully everything will line up. Put all the stuff back. Put the driller back in both. I don't know how long I'm going to need for screws. Maybe they tell you. M3. 25 millimeter. Is this 25? That's 30. That's 20. 25. Well, that could be too long versus too short. Huh. Looks like I'm missing a bag of screws. Or I just don't have that size. I guess we'll go long. Grab that. It's gonna need some washers. And I'll put that aside. All right. So it's all together. Let's see how it works. Oh, you can't see that, can you? Back up a little bit. All right, so we have wing, this, landing gear, and screw. Again, this landing gear is giving me trouble. The hole is not quite round. Yeah, something definitely happened to this gear. I'll just hog it out a little bit real quick, just for demonstration purposes. I put the screws in backwards. Oh, wait. This is what I'll do real quick. Grab an 8-inch bit. Yeah. Yeah, respect my authority. All right, so. Aha, look at that. Much better. Slide in there. Slide those in there. I need my back. Wrong size. There we go. Come on, catch. Oh, sounds like a catch. Come on, catch. Yeah. Oops, I made a boo-boo. I didn't put the wing in right. Looks like it lines up, which is good. So, little lip for the wing. I didn't put the wing in correctly. Let's see. Yeah, stick it in. Do that. There. I'm always worried that everything will line up after I do this. It looks like it is. I think it's going in. Get in there. My thing is stripped a little bit. Oh, wonderful. So, to get another Allen wrench. Right size. Of course, that was missing the one I need, of course. That's not even metric. What has happened? Does this even happen to you when you always, the one size you need is always the one that's missing? There we go. Looks like it's ready. Looks like it's in there. So I'm just gonna probably should. This is just temporary because I'm going to put washers under these heads of these screws. I don't like them just like that. But I just doing a fit check, as we call it. Make sure everything looks like it lines up. And it does. Look at that. We have landing gear. So we've got a plane. One last thing. I'm going to put the canopy. The canopy is in two pieces. So I'm going to break it in the plane. Well, we're going to move this real quick. And then put this together. Probably do it like this. There we go. I'll hold it for a minute because the kicker's probably going to frost it. So let it, since this glue it can be troubles, not troubles, but it's sticking better than I thought I'd do from the inside. Yeah, see, it's frosting a little bit, but outside is good. All right, so get the canopy. Look at that. We're going to go this way. Oh, it goes this way. Oh, there we go. Look at that. We've got a canopy. I notice on this one is a little different than the previous version. No, don't. So this one, the canopy, you had to make this little metal. This was kind of tricky to do. And I make this little, almost like a little hairpin thing. It goes through this hole for the canopy. And it works, but it was a little clunky. So it looks like they've changed. In that now there's no pin there anymore. There's a little platform for a Velcro. Just take a piece of Velcro there, piece there, and you can slide it all together. Not bad. So the plane is pretty much done. We got the control surfaces. These are somewhere. I'll just do one to show you how the control surfaces work up. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time anymore on it. Get some stuff out of the way here. Let's see. Can we find the ailerons? Where are the ailerons? These look like it. I'll do one aileron real quick. Let's see. Ailerons are in two pieces. There we go. So let me glue this together real quick. Overdid it a little bit. All right. It's a little fiddly getting the alignment. I'll make sure I got the alignment relatively good. As we get the glue away from the kicker, that'll help. Get Sit for a second. We'll do the other side. All right, there's the aileron. Not sure which side this is for. I think it's for this side. It's for this side. Yeah. So the ailerons are interesting how they do it. Let me grab a piece of thing here. The wrong piece of thing I grabbed. Here we go. Hinges are duct tape. So what I do is they say peel off a section of duct tape. Yeah. Peel off a good chunk of it. So board here. This is interesting. This is the only company I've ever seen do something like this. So you take your duct tape, stick it to everything. So you need it to be roughly this size. So roughly, I'm just marking the length. Right. All right. The length, and then we'll take straight edge. We'll cut it in half lengthwise. There. All right, so the tape will go here, but don't just stick it on. What do I want to do first? What we will do first is actually dabble some glue. Not a whole lot, just a little periodic dabs. Then we stick the tape on roughly halfway. Get out of there. I'll bend this back a little bit because we will repeat. You'll move it down, move the aileron down a little bit so you can make sure there's enough to flex. Got an aileron. Yeah, it kind of impacts into my blue area a little bit. That's right. And it works as long as you glue. I tried one. I didn't glue it. I just stuck the tape on, and it held for a little while, but eventually came up. But with the glue, it actually holds pretty good. And I've flown them a bunch of times like that. Haven't had an issue. So you gotta hold on. Now, I imagine maybe different ways of doing that, but if it's crazy and it works, it's not crazy, right? So for the most part, You just repeat for the other surfaces. So I'll go through a few things. I won't go through them tonight because it'll take a little longer. We've already gone for over 2 hours. Wow. So there's servo mounts for the wings. You put the servos. Grab a servo real quick. This will work. So hit the plane. Okay. This is the first servo I could find. I'm not necessarily one I'll use, but it's a little cheapy. Yeah, I can't use this one. It's a little too small, but servo goes in here. You screw the servo in, and then you place it. Then it. Moving over. Then that whole stuff goes into here, like this. Oh, I need to print this in blue. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I don't want to leave it white. That's yeah. So I'll need to print this in blue instead of. I didn't think of that. So it goes in there, holds the servo in, and then there's a servo cover. Well, it looks like a nice little servo cover that goes over it for aerodynamic fairing. That's actually pretty nice. That's pretty snazzy. So these 2 pieces, I think I'm going to print in blue instead of white, or at least the servo mount in blue. I haven't decided what to do the other one. Some other servos in there, some extensions. Set up the V-tail. There is 2 exits here for the control wires for the V-tail. So there's part of the V-tail control surface. A nice cruciform shape to it. It's pretty nice. Wait, it's the wrong side. There we go, like that. Make sure I don't do that when I glue it in. So that's in there. One last thing I'll talk about on this is the motor. Of course, there's some servo mounts that go in the fuselage, which I didn't print out. I forgot to print those out. Here is the motor mount. I also printed this in ABS. I figured the motor's going to run a little hot, and so ABS can handle high temperatures better than PLA. So this one actually looked like it came out pretty good. I think I had to print 2 or 3 of them because I had some warping on this as well, but this one came out really pretty nice. And so what I'll do is just pull this out real quick. So the motor just bolts on. It's got the holes for the motor, something like that. There. 4 screws, bolts on. What's neat is in the plane, this whole assembly goes in the nose, kind of like that, and it bolts in. There's a hole here, a hole here, and a hole on the bottom that matches the holes in the motor mount. So you just screw it in from the 3 sides. So the motor mount's removable, replaceable, and you can slide the whole assembly in with the motor, bolt it in, and you're done. So that is the, bring it back here, do some stuff out of the way. What is the, you see it? Sorry, I'm trying to get a wide angle, and I dropped the camera. Earthquake! All right, sorry about that. Trying to, can't really see the whole plane, can you? There we go. The Eclipson Model V. V-tail. It's got a sort of a warm liner look to it. I'll have to also see about putting the wheel pants on it. These nice little wheel pants. I can't do that with these landing gear. Landing gear is off. I'm going to reprint it. So when I reprint it, I'll put the wheel fairings on it, which will look pretty neat too. A little bit of aerodynamic piece to it. The wheels are okay. It's pretty neat. I think I like this. When my field opens up again, I'll see about doing a flight video of it. Give a little review, see what I think of it. Little things. Print out some missing pieces, hook up the servos and the control rods. And it'll be a neat little V-tail. Oh, the V-tail is so cool. Look at that. V for victory. Gives it character. That's pretty neat. So, as you can see, it didn't take long to put together. We got major sub-assemblies. I did it in a couple of hours, stuck everything together. Some minor hiccups. So, expect maybe another couple of hours hooking up the servos, the control rods, getting the controls throw set. So, you can probably put one together in a night. You plan 4 or 5 hours, you can get it done. Maybe less, depending how fast you work. You have some flexibility in your colors, some shortcuts. Remember to get the rods. I missed that the first time, but it is nice. I can take it apart, take the tail off. Maybe one version will have the wings can come off. Well, the wings comes off, so I guess there's no need to really have the wingtips come off, but it kind of might be a neat idea. Notice that there's CG marks on the wing. You can see that. Little indentations. There's another hole back here. That might be a screw hole. Yeah, look at that. So yeah, I missed the third screw mount. That's easy enough to do. So there's 3 screws to hold the wing in. That makes sense. And it's pretty nice. The weight doesn't seem too bad. Got a little bit of the carbon rods, I think, add a little bit of weight. Hopefully we can get everything balanced. We got the little wheel colors in the back, but the nose is fairly long, so it shouldn't be a problem getting the thing to balance. Little tail dragger. No tail wheel that I. Oh, there is. I saw it in a video. That's what it was. There's a rod that comes up the back that forms the tail skid to protect the plastic. One of the carbon rods or metal rods, but there is no steerable tail wheel. Unfortunately, but I'll hook up rudder elevator onto it. So there you are, Eclipson Model V assembled. I'll take advantage of the quarantine to get it all control set up over the next few days, a week, whatever. So wow, I've been going. This is the longest live show I've ever had. Sorry, you guys, if you've been bored out of your mind or not. Let me go through the chats real quick and see if I'm catch up on some stuff before heading out for tonight. By all means, I welcome any questions. Let's see. Yeah, kicker. Andrew talks about how the kicker picks up things. Yes, kicker is wonderful. Andrew also says, "You think it messes bad? You see what happens to a machine shop when you're banging up parts." I can imagine. my workshop varies from. I'm still working on. I've actually been spending most of my time at home trying to organize and clean up stuff. I just I've been organizing and buying boxes. I'll show you something real quick. Out of here. There's a noise. Just went to Home Depot, and I bought a whole bunch of these things to organize stuff in the workshop. I got all these containers between Walmart and Home Depot. I'm going through some old boxes. Like I said, I moved a couple of years ago, and I'm still going through boxes. So I figure if I can pull stuff out, organize, throw stuff away, these things are stackable. I can make a nice stack of stuff. Let's see. Go for the rivets. I don't know what that means. Yar, stream is much more stable this time. I don't know why. That's interesting how it was more stable. I don't think I did really anything different than last time, but I'm not going to complain. Let's see. Jay is asking about how far can you grow my arts-related content on my channel. I want to grow without plashing my videos on other people's channels. I have no idea. The YouTube algorithms are a mystery wrapped in an enigma. I had a big spike in views, and I have no idea why. And didn't really do anything different, just something magical. All I can say is just keep on keeping on. Make your content, do what you want to do. Let people know you're out there. Don't necessarily flood other people's content, but you can, make a web page. I have a Facebook page that I use to post videos, and a Twitter, Twitter account, and what's that other one? Well, pictures, Instagram account. Tell your friends. Try to just get the word out best you can, and it'll grow slowly but surely. Yeah. Going back to my missing hex wrench is Andrew says the key aspect of our universe. Somewhere out there's a universe where the hex wrench you need is always there. It's the universe. I want to live in a universe when I always need the tool. I had that problem with Phillips and regular screwdrivers. I'm always picking up the wrong one that I need. If I need a Phillips, it's a flat edge. If I need a flat, it's a Phillips. For some reason, it's never the one I need. Kind of like when you're hooking up a brushless motor, right? You got 3 wires, and there's a 50-50 chance that you'll wire it up where the motor spins in the correct direction on the first time. But it seems like 75% of the time it spins in the wrong direction. How does that work? I never was good at statistics. Never made a whole lot of sense to me. Let's see. Oh yeah, the cotter pins. Yeah, cotter pins. That's right. Just like an RC car. Let's see. Andrew Tubalo, Lata's adverse yaw off a aileron that long. Possibly. And then I'll see what happens in the flight test. You can set up with what do they call it? Not Expo. You can set the ailerons up mechanically so you get more up than down. Differential. You set up as differential ailerons to have adverse yaw. Maybe kick in some rudder mixing as well. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to know if it has an adverse yaw like that or not. It's a good point. Felix says, will this be RC or just off the shelf? No, this is rail controlled. All rail controlled. This will fly. It will fly. Be free. Gap tape instead of duct tape. Worth a try. From Andrew. Let's see. Peter says, how long did it take you to print that? I think about 20 hours worth of printing, roughly. Could probably do it in a week on one printer. Super Crew 95 says, very really entertaining and relaxing. Really? I'm glad to hear that. I would have thought you were bored stiff. But hey, I'm not a highly excitable person, so if it's entertaining and relaxing, that's all I can ask for. If you clean up, you'll never find anything, Mike says. Yeah, absolutely right. Every time I clean up and organize, I end up pulling the hair out of my head. It's like, where did I put that stupid thing that I can always find? Now I can't find it. But I'm trying to hook up some sort of method so I can find stuff easily. Because I have a lot of stuff. As I've been cleaning up and finding stuff, I was like, oh, I forgot I had this. Or, wow, this is neat. I know I'm going to use it sometime in the future, but how do I put it somewhere where I know I can find it again sometime in the future and not forget about it? Let's see. Gazlo, would this be an inexpensive and easy to fly aircraft combo for a beginner? Okay, Gazlo, no, I would not recommend this for a beginner. Mainly because these are fairly delicate. I mentioned this at the beginning at the broadcast. This is a plastic plane. It's kind of fragile. I hate to say fragile. It's just for inexperienced person that's going to bounce it off the ground hard, learning to fly. This is not what you want. Go find a foamy aircraft like a Apprentice or something like that. Those you can bounce off the ground. They can handle a lot of abuse, and when you do break them, you can glue them back together with epoxy or something like that real easily. And those are beginner planes. And I always recommend seek somebody to help you out if you can find a local club instructor. These are for relatively experienced people. You don't have to be super experienced, but you have to be able to handle a sport plane, relatively fast, non-stabilizing sport plane. You'll be okay. So inexpensive, easy aircraft for a beginner. Okay, I just answered that question from Gaslow. Let's see. M. Martin says, and why Martin? I guess that's New York. I saw in some of your videos you also have Gundam models. Yeah. And did I ever detect Gundam music in some of your credits? My name is Fitzwalker, and I am a Gundam fan. I've been a Gundam fan for a long time, old school. I won't say how old, but I'm a big Gundam fan. And yes, I have Gundam models. You've probably seen some of my older videos. I had a in my other office. I had a display case. I still have it with models in it. I do plastic models, and I do Gundam models. I do Macross models as well. Some of my favorite series are Gundam and Macross. If you don't know what those are Japanese animation, Japanime, Japanese anime, whatever you want to call it. Uh, and Gundam is like, I guess, the Star Wars of Japan, roughly. Macross, the Star Trek of Japan. I can't hard to equate them, but both are real famous series in Japan. I've always been a big fan of them, and so I like to build plastic models, and I have lots of those. More than I had to build. Jerry, thank Jerry for the comment. Equine, thank you, comment. Uh, Super Crew 63 says, "Do I fly wings such as Zagis?" I actually used to have a Zagi long time ago. I've had one or two Zagis. It died a horrible death, but I used it and abused it. I still have some flying wings. Somebody asked me that before, and I pulled out a couple in my last podcast. I still have a few wings. I have something called a crazy wing. I have a review of that. Look in my video history. I got a pop fly. So I got several wings of VecJet. So yes, I like flying wings. Very efficient designs. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see. What's your Twitter? My Twitter is something. Hobby Fits. That's it. Hobby Fits. If you don't know, I think I have a link to my Twitter on a YouTube page. If you go to About Me, you can see my Twitter. And also, yeah, look up Hobby Fits. And I think it has a subtext of HobbyView on it, one word. Hey, somebody from Israel. Jonathan, thanks for watching from Israel. It's always amazing the people that come from different places. And the FPV flights in the future. Yes, I actually have one or two planes that are supposed to be set up for FPV. We're supposed to do one with my co-hosts on the RC Roundtable, and we haven't gotten around to it. So it's a pod and boom plane. I think a pusher. So in fact, I bought a new FPV camera and some stuff. So yeah, I just haven't gotten around to it. AJ, is it AJ? AJ290. I am new to the channel and was thinking about getting a plane. What would be a good starter plane? FMS Skytrainer 182. I'm not all that familiar with FMS Skytrainer, but being a 182, it's a high wing. It probably would be okay. I always recommend, like I said before, find somebody to help you, find an instructor, a local club. It's the best way. If not, at least get a simulator and learn to fly on a simulator before you take a plane out. And that way, you at least have some good chance of success on your own. I always recommend the Apprentice, E-Flight Apprentice. I know it probably sounds like a broken record, but I've trained students on the Apprentice. I'm always very, very impressed how good a flying plane it is. It's slow. It can fly very slow, easy to land, easy to fly, reasonably durable. It includes the AS3X and the stabilization that allows you not to overbank it. It's all around really, really good plane. Very familiar with it, easy to get parts. It's really almost no downsides to it. It's what I really highly recommend. You can get a fully ready to fly kit, radio, everything you need to go, batteries, under $300, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Dallas talks about Avastar. Hey, old Avastars. Yeah, old Avastar trainers. Yeah, I mean, the trainer planes tend to be high wings with a flat bottom, relatively light wing loading. They look kind of like a Cessna 182, 172. So you can almost learn to fly on anything if you got the good help. Some planes, of course, are a lot easier to fly than others. So you generally want something with a high wing. Electric power is really good. Something with a nose gear, generally speaking. Easier ground handling, a little bit of protection of the prop, and go from there. Let's see. Let's just wrap this up. Peter Martin. Yeah, awesome Gundam Macross. Yes. I don't have any Gundam stuff in here. But yes, you've heard um, a little secret. Most of my videos at the end have some form of anime music. Not always Gundam. I actually tend to stay away from Gundam and Macross because they're so popular, and I didn't want to get a copyright strike. So I go to some of the more obscure stuff. But there was one or two videos that had a cover version of one of the Gundam Wing songs. So I figured I can get away with that because it was unlicensed. So it looks like that's the end of comments. We can put one comment in the last 30 seconds. Before I end this, it's been wow, had a lot of fun, guys. So I'm glad. Hope you guys found it interesting. Eclipson models. I'll put a link in the description if you're interested. They have about half a dozen designs now for some unique aircraft. Look for a video of this sometime in the future. And look forward to flying this and the other one too with the floats one of these days. Guys, I really enjoy your company and your comments. You guys have great comments. And thank you for your patronage to the website. Look for more videos. Probably the next one will be the A10 whenever I get around to finish painting it, unless something else comes up. I have a review of the E-Flight F-18 coming up for Model Aviation Magazine, but they always have an accompanying flight video. So when the video goes live, I'll cross-post that to my probably the Facebook page. I guess I could cross-link it on my comments community section on the YouTube page as well. So you get to see that fly. I have that hanging up over there. It's a neat plane. And I've rambled on long enough. I have not had dinner, so I am going to go inside and have some mass consumables. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate the comments. I see the last few comments. I will try to stay safe. You guys stay safe. Wash your hands. Fly hard. Everybody, enjoy life the best you can. And build models. Build lots of models. Have fun. Because I am going to do that as well. Man, it got me interested. I might go inside and start on a Gundam model. Just for since I've been out in the workshop enough. Anyways, enough of that. Guys, good night and God bless. Hey, what's this button do?